Welcome back, everyone, to Let's Talk Manufacturing. I'm your host, Rick Jenkins. Today's show is brought to you by AFL. They are a leading global provider of optic solutions for broadband networks and data centers. Eric Borowicz, who works at AFL, will be joining me in just a sec. As I discussed with Andy Carr earlier, technology in the advanced manufacturing world is growing at a rate that is difficult to keep up with. Things like artificial intelligence, IoT, 3D printing, augmented reality, on and on and on. Most companies today are using analytics to improve efficiency. Maybe that's predictive analytics or practical analytics, which we're going to learn about right now. And here to help me with that conversation is Stijn Van de Velde. He is the founder and CEO of Gemba Systems, an Industry 4.0 solutions provider and data analytics consultant. They're located in Greenville. And also, as I mentioned, Eric Borowicz. He is here. He's the general manager at AFL Conductor Accessories. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Great. Thanks for having us.
It is good to have you guys here. Now, Stijn, you and I know each other, but we've not seen each other quite some time. But we know each other. Eric, I just met you right before we started. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Let's get started just by talking about, let's have some elevator speeches, okay? And Eric, I'm going to start with you. I know the deal with AFL, but honestly, AFL Conductor Accessories, not exactly sure. Tell me about it.
So the Conductor Accessories is the oldest division in AFL. Came down from Messina, New York when Alcoa and Fujikura merged back in 1984 to bring an optical ground wire solution to the electrical utility industry. About 70% of our business is tied directly to the electrical utility industry, not the fiber optic network. So there's two parts of the business that I support, the fiber side, which is our sister plants, but primarily into the power grid.
Gotcha. And you mentioned Fujikura. That's the parent company located in what, Tokyo?
Yes, sir.
And every time somebody from AFL is on here, and it happens from time to time, I always ask the same question. Number one, do you get to go to Tokyo? And number two, when you go, do you like the sushi?
I've never been there.
You haven't? All right. Well, when you do go, report back about the sushi. Before we leave you, you all won a nice award. It's called the AFL Global President's Award. What the heck is that? And congrats.
Well, thank you very much. Fujikura every year presents an award for operational excellence. And this year, our Conductor Accessories division won the award for our performance, both on operating profit and revenue growth over the last 2 years.
Seems to me like if you win an award like that, they ought to fly you to Tokyo and get sushi.
That's my hope.
Okay. Yeah. I hope that occurs. Stijn, let's turn over to you. Gemba Systems. You are the founder. You're the CEO. You're the big boss. Tell me what Gemba does.
Well, Gemba Systems is a solution provider for manufacturing companies. So basically, we help manufacturing companies create more value on their shop floor by bringing together people, processes, and the proper technologies.
Right, got it. And Gemba, where did the name Gemba come from?
Yeah, Gemba is basically the shop floor. It's the place where the work is done. Whether it's an actual shop floor or a cubicle, doesn't really matter. It's where the work's done. It's where the value is being created. And it's, as some people call it, the place of truth. So people in manufacturing typically know lean manufacturing. So in lean manufacturing, Gemba is a pretty important concept because one of the key principles in lean manufacturing is going to Gemba.
Got it.
In order to see with your own eyes what how the work's being done and what the opportunities are, the needs and opportunities for improvement. So yeah, Gemba's dear to us. And then there's the systems part of the name. And that's where the people, processes, and technologies, so that's what that stands for. It's aligning the people, processes, and technologies together to generate the value.
Understood. Okay, so when we were talking about you coming on here, and we were talking about practical analytics, I think I remember thinking or saying, you mean predictive analytics? And of course, I'm the idiot here. He's the professional. No, it's practical analytics. I could guess what that means. There's logic there, but explain it to me.
Yeah. The practical analytics for us means 4 different things, really. It's one, analytics that are simple and usable or understandable by regular people, not just the PhDs and data scientists and folks like that. It's also analytics that are useful and actually used by people in their day-to-day jobs. So it's not so much about pretty dashboards or things that are used once every quarter at a business review or something. It's about things that people have benefit from in their day-to-day activities. The third thing is that it has to inspire focused and meaningful action. Data without analysis is waste, oftentimes, not always, but analysis without insights and action is complete waste. So we really do not want to do a bunch of analytics in order to have wallpaper type of charts. We want it to be actually put to use. And then lastly, when you do put it to use, the whole intent is to have impact. So practical analytics is supposed to have immediate, tangible impact on people's, day-to-day jobs and on their, quality of life and work life, if you will, and making them excited about the tools that they're being provided, and the tools actually they help design and build themselves alongside us, shoulder to shoulder most of the time, because they help them save time, do a better job, and basically shine and help the company be successful.
Got it. Okay. Eric, y'all had a problem. Don't know what the problem is, but you're going to tell us. There was a challenge you needed to resolve. And so before we get into, how you made your way to this guy, let's talk about that challenge. Tell me about it.
So, again, we're basically a job shop. So CNC mills, lathes, we build to order, lots of activity in the plant. I would say it may seem simple on the outside, but it's very complicated on the inside. Mm-hmm. In trying to improve our productivity and growth, we've had some consulting activity, which I'm not a fan of consultants. People that come into your plant who tell you what they can solve for you without knowing who you are. And we had a couple events that were not very beneficial for the group. Okay. We had challenges throughout the plant. One of my colleagues had done business with Gemba Systems before in a smaller context. So he convinced me to give him a try. And the difference between Gemba Systems and other consultants were they came in, they worked the plant. They didn't give me a promise. We didn't have a contract that extended years. It was, I'm going to pay you month by month, and we're going to see how we progress. A lot of faith generated. But the biggest impact was they got to the grassroots of the plant to figure out where our needs were. We started in warehouse and inventory management, getting engagement from the operators that actually pull all the parts to supply the jobs in the plant. Organize the warehouse to minimize the time and effort. And although the project took several months, it was very effective. It saved us a lot of opportunity and time. And then we decided to expand that into the data analytics piece, which was one source of data. I used to combine or, generate spreadsheets and data for me to manage the plant. But nobody on the shop floor had either access to or the knowledge to create their own.
Right.
So the challenge for execution partners, Gemba Systems, was take my data, take what I look at, and then repurpose it, reapply it to the shop floor. So every one of my supervisors, managers, pulls from the same database, the same source, one truth, to create a system that they can manage their responsibilities within the plant.
So let me do a listening check. It sounds like you just knew you needed organizational assistance. And it sounds like you knew that there were savings to be had, efficiencies to achieve, hence profit margin to increase. Correct. We weren't exactly sure maybe where all that was. You just knew it was there.
We knew it was there.
That's kind of what I'm hearing, right?
Correct.
And you knew that you needed someone to come in and not only tell you how to fix it, but tell you where those efficiencies are. I got that right?
Correct.
Okay. So you heard about this guy from somebody, and so you give him a call. You hear from this fella, and tell me what happens.
Well, we came in. I still remember, actually. There was a plant-wide meeting that day in the training room. There was over 100 people. And Eric, towards the end of the discussion, tells the group, oh, by the way, we brought in some people pointing at us. We were sitting against the wall, Joseph and I.
How many folks? Just you and
Joseph? And that was, it's the two of us. And he's like, yeah, I brought in 2 consultants, and they're here to help clean up the warehouse. And everybody laughed. And so that's when we got started. We took a couple of weeks to talk to a whole bunch of people at all the levels to try to understand what was going on, what was the problems, the complaints, if you will. Put it on the brown paper. The brown paper was on the wall for like 6 months or longer. a bunch of sticky notes that we grouped and created this cause effect diagram. And then we started trimming the branches, basically like solving the different issues that were there, so we could stop the bleeding and start putting fixes in place. The biggest amount of the work actually was physically helping the team clean up the warehouse. Joseph and I both lost about 15 pounds in the process. Unfortunately, we gained it ×2 ever since, but we managed to get the warehouse reorganized and cleaned up.
You actually came in and did janitorial services.
We did.
Wow.
Yeah, we got down and dirty.
Spent a lot of time with employees.
Yes.
Spent a lot of time at looking at how they did things, I'm assuming, and the organization of Eric's spreadsheets, and started figuring out, I would assume, how to better handle that.
Yeah, we actually started building analytical tools just to help us through this massive challenge of cleaning up this really big warehouse. Because you know, Eric, how many parts are in it and how many pounds, not just steel, but different alloys. It's a massive warehouse with a lot of complexity. So we needed tools to figure out what's the plan here, how are we progressing, when are we ever going to be done, and how do we also give the folks of the warehouse little like action items for them to pick stuff, consolidate things, clean things up. Inserting it in the daily picking jobs that the folks already had. Just little extra to-dos for them to continuously help us clean the warehouse up and keep it in good shape. So we made those tools to help us clean up the warehouse. And then when we handed them over to the folks that actually managed the warehouse, they liked those tools and they started using them and started wanting more.
I think that's the key for the data analytics piece is whatever you design, you have to have buy-in from the associates, and it has to be sustainable without any additional. So those systems that they put in place, I don't have to check on them to make sure they're using the tools. They use the tools because they know the benefit of the tools and they help develop them.
Yeah.
So that's a powerful aspect.
Let me get a picture of your warehouse. So AFL Conductor Accessories. So you've got probably all kinds of parts, all different types of parts.
So we do castings, extrusions, drawn tubes, different parts. So in our warehouse, we have probably 12,000 different item numbers and 15 to 17,000 locators.
How many square footage of warehouse?
About 75,000 square feet.
All right, big spot.
Yep.
Okay. And you got things everywhere.
Got them everywhere in all different locations.
Right.
So these guys came in, basically organized it by product family, by piece size, in coordination with all the people in the warehouse. Yeah. And it hasn't changed in the 2 years that it's been in place. It's retained its orderliness as a result of those activities.
Yeah. So that's a big job, Stijn. So after you all put your janitor hats on and you cleaned up physically, now you have to organize this and create a database of some sort, right?
Yes.
Tell me what that process looks like.
Actually, that was part of the cleanup because a lot of the parts were raw materials, and in the ERP system, there was no designation what finished goods those raw materials belonged to. So we had to make like a rogue data source, if you will, using VOM information and stuff to assign raw materials to finished products, which we then utilized to organize things by product family and subfamily. But that came in really handy for a whole lot of applications later down the road. And in the meantime, we've actually incorporated that into the official ERP database. But we indeed started creating data sources to enrich the data we had, make it easier for people to understand what they were looking at. But as we were still, working towards the tail end of the warehouse cleanup, folks saw the power. There was a need to do something with pricing, basically. And so we were asked to support in a pricing initiative where we found 3,500 Excel sheets. People are managing prices in Excel files, and there's versioning, different versions of these files, and they're supposed to negotiate updated pricing every so often. So they have to remember that it's time to update pricing and all these types of things. So basically it was a situation with raw material prices going up really quickly, tail end of COVID, supply chain challenges. And there was just a lack of really good tools for folks to see, like to proactively get these prices updated and to make sure that they weren't accepting orders at the wrong price points and things like that. So we just took a bunch of Excel files, created into a database, as you're saying, and created tools for folks to manage things by exception. So there was a long list at first of quotes and then bookings accepted, not at the right price points, and basically we provided customer service and other folks with the tools to catch these things and to fix them before they did damage. If I'm represented this properly.
Yeah, again, we're managing pricing manually without a lot of data behind it. And when remember in COVID, the price changes for commodities was insane and changing every month. So very, very difficult to manage. These tools allowed our product line managers to have a very strong, and I think this is the other part about data analytics, was visual tools to identify the anomalies. What's good, what's bad, and you have an immediate, draw to attention to address an issue before it slides downhill, and then you can't catch it up.
Yeah, exactly. Eric, tell me what I would assume that you can feel the difference, of course, right? But if we're looking at it on paper, what is the difference between pre-Gemba and post-Gemba?
Pretty remarkable change. We've more than doubled our operating profit as a division.
Wow.
And it really comes through efficiency, cost savings, managing a price, all of those factors coming together. It wasn't one single event, but the combination of all. And it was a growth over, I'll say there was some patience required. I think sometimes people have a tendency to look for an immediate fix.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes some time in order to allow that fix to grow and blossom. But I think what's one of the reasons we win the award was that growth in both revenue, but growth in profit as well, and efficiency.
So what I hear, Stijn, is that when Eric gets invited to Tokyo for sushi, then you should be coming along. Okay. All right.
I disagree. If I can pick up on that, though, it does take courage to see it through. It's not an overnight thing. It takes a lot of effort and seeing it through to get to a point where the whole organization adopts data as a powerful tool. That's one piece. The other piece that I think an important point to make, our role is just to turn data into insight. It's Eric's role and his team's role to turn insight into decisions and actions and results. We only do the initial little piece. Everything else is Eric and his team. And that's where the partnership comes in. We just speak the same language. We're there, for each other, and we play our role in I think, a very effective way.
You talk about a partnership, and you said that that this thing that you worked on together was a couple years ago, but you're still working on things together today. Tell me what that is.
So we've done a couple of really interesting things. One is a RTLS system, so we actually can track jobs throughout the shop, have that monitoring. We do a lot of activity with storm damage or power outages where utilities need product immediately. We're able to tag those with some
little tags,
tags, and we can real-time track them through the shop, which gives us an immediate understanding of where the job is, how much more time's left, so we can actually have those conversations with the utility saying, here's where it is, here's where it'll be finished, rather than walking through the plant and trying to figure it out.
Right.
It's all done remotely. So that's been a powerful tool for us as well. We continue to develop tools. One of the things as we make decisions, not every decision or not every tool was as functional as you want it to be, right? So we're continually modifying to adjust to how our plant's running, how the market's running, what our needs are. So I think it's a continuing development. We have Stijn's team in the plant.
Yeah.
They're not remote. They work side by side in our plant.
How often?
They're there all day,
every day. We got 2 people full time.
Okay.
You talk about partnership.
I was going to say.
Yeah. They get to see what their impact is or what our impact is every single day. They walk through the floor. They talk to our supervisors. They make modifications. And the great thing for me, it's not waiting for an email to get answered. Yeah. They're right there on the shop floor. I can walk up to them and talk to them at any time.
Yeah. That's a true partnership.
It is a true partnership.
Stijn, last words.
I don't know what to add. I'm grateful for the partnership. It's been a great run so far, and we are working on a number of other exciting things right now. So I'm looking forward to, seeing what the future brings.
Man, that's good stuff. Eric, thank you.
Thank you.
It was good.
Appreciate you having us.
Stijn, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. Thank you.
Appreciate you joining us. Folks, that is Stijn Van de Velde. He is the owner and the CEO at Gemba Systems, and Eric Borowicz, the general manager at AFL Conductor Accessories. And that completes another episode of Let's Talk Manufacturing. Appreciate you joining us. We'll see you next time.